It's that spooky time of year again, so we're going to look at Halloween, one of the great horror franchises with 13 films to date. The franchise has had multiple storylines, has seen several continuity changes and retcons throughout its history, and has had the Rob Zombie reboots. With a mix of quality across the series, from downright awful to classic masterpiece, here's our ranking of every Halloween movie from worst to best. Let us know in the comments if you agree or disagree with our ranking. In last place at 13 is Halloween Resurrection. In a franchise with its fair share of letdowns, this particular entry stands as the most underwhelming. The concept of a group of teenagers streaming from the Myers house on Halloween night was an intriguing one, but Halloween Resurrection proves to be a catastrophe, with no real suspense and Busta Rhymes in the unlikely role of a karate-kicking producer. Also, the early death of Laurie Strode and the ridiculous explanation for Michael's survival from having his head cut off in H2O further contribute to its status as the least appealing installment in the series. Basically, it's just a terrible film. At 12 is Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers. The sixth installment in the series, Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers, was released in 1995. It introduces us to the cult of Thorn. This revelation unveiled that Michael was entangled in a curse compelling him to kill his own relatives. The film has Michael chasing his niece, Jamie Lloyd, who he kills and then turns his sinister attention to Jamie's newborn son. The film does feature Paul Rudd before he made it big in Hollywood, and is the final Halloween movie to include the legendary Donald Pleasance. That's about all this film has going for it though. At 11 is Halloween 2 from 2009. This one had Michael Myers grappling with eerie visions of a White House and apparitions of his dead mother, but what stood out most in Halloween 2 was its relentless pursuit of excessive gore, like when Myers repeatedly stomps on a man's face until it's squashed like a melon. The film seemed intent on delivering the shock factor, which I suppose is no surprise from a Rob Zombie movie, but unfortunately this formula didn't work. Halloween is about suspense, not gore. At 10 is Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. This fifth installment is where the films really started to decline in quality at an alarming rate. It explored the prospect of Myers forming an unusual bond with his niece, Jamie Lloyd, making her a deaf mute with a telepathic connection to Michael. Halloween 5 manages to destroy the allure of the franchise and features an ending that is one of the worst in the series. At number 9 is Halloween Ends. This was supposed to be the ultimate showdown between Michael Myers and Laurie Strode, but that isn't what we got. Instead of putting the spotlight on the long-anticipated Michael vs. Laurie clash, the majority of the film revolved around the newly introduced character, Corey Cunningham. While Corey was undoubtedly an intriguing figure, placing him at the forefront at the expense of the much-anticipated Michael and Laurie face-off proved to be a massive wrong turn. A huge disappointment, and not what anybody wanted to see. I mean, the film isn't that bad, it's just one of the biggest letdowns of any horror franchise. I don't know what they were thinking when they wrote it. At 8 is Halloween from 2007. Rob Zombie's adaptation of Halloween looks into the troubled childhood and school life of a young Michael Myers, depicting 10-year-old Michael torturing pets, murdering a school bully, and receiving psychiatric treatment at an asylum for the criminally insane. I don't think Rob Zombie was the right man for the job here. It wasn't scary and none of the jump scares worked, so in the end, this proved to be another unsatisfying addition to the franchise. At 7, Halloween Kills. Fast forward 40 years from Michael's original rampage, and the residents of Haddonfield are in the midst of celebrations, only to swiftly realise that the Shape has returned to their town. The film takes an interesting angle by showing the trauma, fear and eventual determination that such a tragedy can inflict on a community. Although the mob's attempt to hunt down Michael and seemingly beat him to death, yet failing to ensure the job is done, is quite laughable. And for the first time on this list, we have a film that isn't terrible. At 6, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch. Halloween 3, Season of the Witch notably lacks one critical element: Michael Myers. Instead, this installment takes a sci-fi horror approach, centered around the Silver Shamrock Factory and its ominous Halloween masks. These masks hold a terrifying secret as they pose a threat to turn your brains into soup and have snakes and bugs crawl out from your head when you watch a trippy video on Halloween night. Despite the giant hole in the shape of iconic Michael Myers, Season of the Witch stands as a surprisingly enjoyable movie. At 5 is Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. Halloween 4 not only brought Michael back after his absence in Halloween 3, but also introduced us to Jamie Lloyd, the niece of the infamous Shape and the daughter of Laurie Strode. Michael's resurgence was triggered by an ambulance worker who mentioned his niece, leading him to wake from a decade-long coma and set off for Haddonfield, all while being pursued by the relentless Sam Loomis. The film itself holds up well, but it's the closing moments of Halloween 4 that leave a lasting impact. After a local mob dispatches Michael down a mine shaft, the final scene shockingly revealed Jamie wielding a pair of scissors and stabbing her foster mother. At 4 is Halloween 2 from 1981. Following up on a masterpiece like Halloween is no easy task, but this sequel proves to be a great film by immediately continuing the story from the closing moments of Carpenter's classic. With Michael Myers having disappeared at the end of the first Halloween, Halloween 2 places Sam Loomis and Sheriff Brackett in pursuit of the masked killer, while Jamie Lee Curtis's Laurie Strode is rushed to hospital after her harrowing encounter with Michael. Halloween 2 has a lot to like, Donald Pleasance's portrayal of Sam Loomis, and a fiery finale. At 3 is Halloween from 2018. Disregarding every film except John Carpenter's 1978 original, the 2018 Halloween installment picks up the story 40 years after the infamous night. During these 4 decades, Michael has been in an institution, while Laurie Strode has become a battle-hardened figure always prepared for his potential return. Michael, of course, escapes, orchestrated by Dr. Sartain, his psychiatrist and a former student of the legendary Sam Loomis. Sartain's curiosity to see Michael in the wild leads to disastrous consequences, including his own death. The film builds to an intense and fiery climax as Laurie, her daughter and granddaughter, trap Michael in Laurie's basement and set him on fire, but not before the Shape adds a few more victims to his tally. This film breathes some fresh air into the franchise and was a worthy sequel. At 2, Halloween H2O. In 1998, Halloween H2O took a different approach by altering the timeline, disregarding everything except the first 2 Halloween films. In this version, Laurie Strode did not have a daughter but instead had a teenage son. She also assumed a new identity as Kerry Tate after faking her death, now working as the headmistress of Hillcrest Academy. Laurie, or Kerry's life, is once again turned upside down when Michael discovers her whereabouts and targets the school. This installment marked a return to the franchise's roots and a much-anticipated comeback for Jamie Lee Curtis in the role of Laurie, a character she hadn't portrayed since Halloween 2. A very satisfying film that gave new life into what seemed to be a dying franchise. And of course, at number 1 is Halloween from 1978. John Carpenter's masterpiece, Halloween, is an iconic horror film. Every aspect of this movie is outstanding, from the music, cinematography, performances, characters, to the unforgettable presence of Michael Myers. The film's opening sequence, with its shocking revelation, sets the tone for a work that flawlessly comes together. Laurie Strode emerges as one of the most remarkable protagonists in the horror genre, while Michael stands as one of the most formidable villains in horror history. Also, Carpenter's haunting theme gives us one of the most memorable scores in the genre. Halloween is one of those movies you can watch over and over and never get bored. And there you have it. Do you agree or disagree with our ranking? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you for joining us on this Halloween movie ranking journey. We've delved into the iconic franchise with its 13 films to date, exploring everything from the classics to the misfires. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more horror-related content, and may your Halloween be filled with chills and thrills. Happy Halloween!